Hello, class. I wanted to take a few minutes to introduce this idea of concept maps, starting with why I'm choosing to use it in the course this semester, and why I hope you'll see the value in it. It all stems from the fact that we have a very good textbook. It's in its 8th edition, and it does a very good job, better than I could, of introducing a lot of these new concepts and terminology in thermodynamics. And there is a decent amount in this course. I also know I was a student once and suggested reading assignments get placed on the very bottom of the to-do list above other course items of importance. And I want to incentivize this to reward you for the work that you're going to be doing. What I tried for the first time several years ago was giving reading assignments and then to incentivize them, holding a very brief quiz at the beginning of the next class. And in that quiz, I'd ask one or two questions from the reading. What I found out to my dismay at the end of the semester was that a lot of students felt like I was inevitably asking some piece of minutia that they didn't get from the reading assignment. So we had a disconnect between the things that I thought were important from the reading assignment and what the class was getting out of the reading assignment. And in searching for a way to bridge that gap, I came across this idea of concept maps. And it stems from actually cognitive psychology research in the education community. It's been used in engineering education as well. And I've been impressed as I have used it at its power in helping to not just read something, but read and comprehend as you connect the dots between key concepts. Let's learn a little bit more about it now. Concept maps were invented or created by Joseph D. Novak. And some of the quotes I'm going to be showing you come from a 1984 book he published on learning how to learn. The basic components include concepts, and a concept is an object or an event. So when we think of objects, words like car, dog, chair, tree, cloud, book, those kinds of things. And then events could be activities like raining, playing, washing, thinking, thunder, birthday party. Even though we use the same words, each of us may think of something a little different. These mental images we have for words are our concepts. And then one reason we have trouble understanding each other sometimes is that our concepts are never quite identical, even though we know the same words. Words are labeled for concepts, but each of us must acquire our own meaning for words. So for instance, in thermodynamics, we use the word efficiency. Now, efficiency is something that we understand in different ways in different contexts. Another example would be work, which has a very specific thermodynamic definition. So just because we have a word doesn't mean you and I understand it the same in our mental pictures. The second big component of concept maps are linking words. Linking words are typically verbs and prepositions, things like are, where, the, is, with, then, and other more meaningful verbs. And the linking words are used together with concepts to construct sentences that have meaning. Every two concept words connected by a linking word or a linking phrase creates what they call a proposition, which is just simply a unit of meaning or a unit of knowledge. So for an example, the dog is running. Dog and running are two separate concepts, an object and an event, and the linking word between them is the verb is. Another example would be thunder is a sound. Thunder and sound are two concepts, and they're connected by the verb is. Let's go to the website where I'll show you a link with a specific example for a concept map. Here it is labeled a concept map about concept maps. And we see this example from Dr. Novak's company's website. You can read it on your own time to peel back all of the different concepts and the propositions that they create. I want to draw your attention to two things to help you as you are going to put together your first concept map. One thing is that choosing good linking words is key. You want to avoid vague things as much as possible. So for instance, is, are, those types of more vague verbs, try to avoid those as much as possible. Look at some of these other examples like is necessary for, is comprised of, includes, especially with. So strive for specificity in the linking words to help make those propositions very meaningful. The other thing you should strive for is to make every two concepts with their linking word stand on its own. And the way you can test that is by saying it out loud. Now the grammar doesn't have to be perfect, but it should form a complete unit of meaning. For example, propositions are units of meaning. Let's see here, what is another? Organized knowledge includes associated feelings or effect. Associated feelings or effect add to concepts. I can say every two concepts with the linking word and have it mean something. Now, an example of things to try to avoid, the rules here sometimes are meant to be broken. Understand that. For example, labeled with symbols. That is a little vague, let's find another one here. Well, that might just be about the only one. What you want to avoid is having to create long sentences, reading out one long sentence as you go along. Again, every two concepts should be spoken with the linking word and make a complete unit of knowledge. That's what you're striving toward. So how do we make our own concept maps? Well, you can do them by hand. That's no excuse for sloppiness. It would involve a lot of writing and rewriting as you try to make things fit. You could also use Microsoft PowerPoint or Word to draw the shapes and put arrows in between them. I would really encourage you to use some of the free concept map software that's offered by Novak's website. The link is on the course website. You can create a free account. And then you can start building your own CMap on the cloud. I'll click on New CMap. And then that opens up a workspace in which we can work. And the workspace has a lot of bells and whistles in it. You can avoid all of those and just realize that you can double click to create a concept. You can type whatever you want in that. You can drag and move that around on the page. I can create another concept just by double clicking. And then creating the links are as easy as putting your mouse over the arrows and then just dragging an arrow to the next concept, and it automatically opens up a space for you to type a linking phrase. And then those themselves can move around. I can make another concept, and I can even connect that to the linking phrase to make two connections. The dog is running, dog is eating. Again, many bells and whistles, colors, pictures you can insert. The important thing is just being able to create the concepts and create the linking phrases in between and drag and drop to move them as you would like. Once you've done that, you can export them to an image, for instance, like a JPEG image. You could do a print preview. You can save and export in many different ways to get that into something that you can turn in and submit. I'll also draw your attention to the link on the course website for constructing your first concept map, which I think you'll find very useful as you're working on this for the first time. It provides some step-by-step instructions with examples as well. So I'll let you read this in detail on your own. I'll hit a couple of the highlights. The first is determining the context of the concept map, so a focus question. Now, I will usually give a focus question when I give the assignment. Lacking that, the next best thing you could use would be the section headings in the textbook as clues for what a good focus question would be. The second idea is to identify the key concepts. The idea is not to try to organize them yet, just to note the concepts as you're completing the reading assignment and just get them on the page there, not even organized. This is what they're calling a parking lot. You're just parking your concepts as you're reading before you go to make any sense or connections with them. I actually went through an example on my own when I started looking into using concept maps in class. Here's a screenshot from the textbook, and it just shows an example of what you can do as you're completing a reading. I've just taken pencil as I've gone through, and I've circled what I think are sort of key concepts from these few paragraphs. The textbook tries to label key concepts in bold, but there's a lot packed into this. So just taking pencil or something and marking it up as you go through, just to identify the concepts. Then you can type them into the software and make your list of them, the parking lot. Once you've established your parking lot of concepts, the next step is to rank the order of the concepts. In other words, to build the hierarchy. The nice thing about the software is that you can just click and drag and start with your most general concept, working your way down to very specific concepts or examples, and then trying to group them based on their different subdomains of knowledge. Once you've got your structure or your hierarchy, you can start to construct the initial concept map by making the linkages with linking phrases between the concepts, working your way through that. Once you've done that, you can then start to find cross-links between the different domains of knowledge. Here's an example between a cross-link from this branch or domain of knowledge with this branch or domain of knowledge. So trying to find a few cross-links as you go through is key. The final idea is that you are never done with a concept map. And also that everybody will have a slightly different concept map because we learn differently. We have different backgrounds or experiences with our education that flavor our understandings of concepts, and we see things differently. That's one of the really neat things here. You can have mistakes in concepts by not understanding the correct connection between the two. But in terms of the words we choose to link concepts and the way we organize it, you and I and another student could come up with 3 very different ways of doing that. That could each be correct. So the final step with your initial concept map is to then reorganize it once more to create a final draft. And finally, scoring. How will I look at these? How will I assess them once you start turning in your first concept map assignments? Well, I've got a link here for a scoring rubric. And if you click on that, what I'll try to do is actually print this out and mark it up when I return every concept map assignment back to you. So the 3 categories will be, number 1, concepts, the concepts that you create. Have you created a full list or a basic list from the concepts? Are you missing any important concepts? Those types of questions. Then the relationships among the concepts. In other words, the linking words. Have you used precise phrases for your linking words, or are they all very general? Do you have good cross-links which exhibit deep learning? Those types of questions. And then the third is the overall structure or format of the concept map. Are you producing a concept map that's easy to interpret? Is it well organized and logical? Is it tree-like instead of stringy? Do every two concepts with a linking word represent a meaningful proposition or statement? I'll actually try and read those out loud as I'm looking at them to see if meaningful propositions are created. And I'll weight those three areas all equally as I strive to clarify, what I'm seeing and what I'm expecting with the submissions.